Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am going to be testing out this little microphone. Maybe this will make the video audio a little bit better. Hopefully, fingers crossed. My best friend did gift this to me to help produce better quality in my videos. So we will see how that goes. I am going to be doing a couple different videos today since I have an ample amount of time to film, so I figured I would take advantage of that. The first video I am going to be filming today is going to be a figure review of a figure that I got quite a while ago, and I did actually film the unboxing of this figure. However, I was not satisfied with how the video came out at all, so I just decided to scrap that one and refilm it when I had time. So this is going to be that, and this video is actually going to be a little bit special, I would say. I was able to get this figure secondhand off of a Depop seller. I will have their Depop linked in my bio. They are super kind and super friendly. This figure typically goes for quite a lot on the aftermarket, but because of the seller, I was able to get her for a really good deal. And that is going to be the Ringo Misono bunny by Binding and illustrated by Ikazaki Misa. This person did go ahead and tell me a little bit of backstory on this figure that I got from them, because they are selling a ton of other figures on their Depop as well. The figures that they're selling are actually their late siblings figures from their collection. They did pass away, but they are selling their siblings' figures to help fund the resting place for their sibling, which I think is a really awesome thing to do. And I think that they're putting their siblings' hobby to good use to have something like that happen. I know how hard it is to lose a loved one. The fact that they are able to take something that their sibling really enjoyed and put it towards something good like that is pretty, I would say, a pretty nice, like, full circle event. Their resting place is going to be a library, which is really also quite fitting. Hopefully there's lots of manga. But if you are interested in helping to fund their siblings' resting place, they have some other figures listed on the Depop page as well, if there's anything that you might be interested in, because all of the proceeds of that will go to funding their resting place. And of course, I will link the Depop account in the description, and I will also have their siblings' My Figure Collection page in the description. There are some other people that have left some really kind comments on their profile. It's quite lovely to see all these people kind of commemorate someone who, even though they might not have known them in person, knew them online and were friends with them in that kind of way. So yeah, sorry if this comes off as a bit awkward. I didn't want to script this as it might come off as ingenuine. It's a really kind of touching story, and it's a touchy subject matter, so I wanted it to be as genuine as possible, and I just wanted to kind of spread their story while also being able to show off a really beautiful figure to you guys. So hopefully you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. I did already take her out of the box, of course, because I did unbox this once before, but let me go ahead and take her out of the blister package, and then I will kind of just show her off to you guys, and I will go over all the things that I like about her and some of the things that I'm not too fond of. Overall, I will say this figure is stunning and an amazing figure. Like, by far one of the most beautiful Binding bunnies that I own, for sure. So I guess I'll show her box to you guys a little bit. I do think her box is quite fitting to her character design. We have a ton of really nice red detailing on the box, as well as some black lacy detailing and then some gold like filigree patterns. It definitely gives a very royal vibe to the figure. She is technically a casino themed bunny, but it definitely gives more royal vibes in my opinion than casino. But when you actually see the bunny, it definitely gives casino vibes. Either way, I think the box is excellently put together, and I think it looks beautiful and definitely exudes the theme of the bunny, especially color palette wise, because she has a ton of black, gold, red, and green on her, which is also super fitting considering her name is Ringo, which means apple in Japanese. So she has both red elements and green elements, which are both common colors that apples are depicted in. So yeah, I think they did an excellent job with the box. It looks very, very beautiful. And of course, it just says her name and like the manufacturer and whatnot on the front there. And then the sides all kind of look like this. Also really, really pretty. And then the back, of course, is fully green with those filigree patterns again, and then some warnings and whatnot. So let's go ahead and take her out and I will show her off to you guys. Alrighty, so here she is. And oh my god, is she stunning. I am so in love with this figure. I'm super happy to finally have her in my collection. I have been on the hunt for her for a really, really long time for a decent price because I just couldn't justify spending almost like $350 to $400 on her. And the fact that I was able to get her for close to retail really, really just made me so happy. I'm glad that I was patient and I didn't cave and pay astronomical amounts for her, because although she definitely I think would have been worth it, it's always nice to get a good deal on something. And when I say she's stunning, I absolutely 100% mean she is stunning, from the sculpt to the paint job to just everything about her. I think my one and only complaint that I have with this figure is her hair. If you see her bottom hair here that touches the floor, it doesn't actually quite touch the ground when you have her sitting on a shelf. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but I do think it would be an easy fix if you just heated the hair up a little bit with a heat gun or hair dryer. Honestly, hair dryer would probably be a safer bet since heat guns tend to reach a higher temperature quicker. So I definitely think if you just heated her hair up a little bit with a hair dryer and then held it down in place till it cooled down, the problem would be completely null and void. So that's not a huge issue in my opinion. The hair on her leg also doesn't quite sit flush to her legs, so you might also have to do the same thing with that strand of hair. But otherwise, I would say she is pretty good for a binding bunny. She's got a super unique design and outfit as well, and I just absolutely adore her bright red hair. I think it is so beautiful. And it does actually have quite a bit of nice detailing to it. The ends of her hair are more of an orangey red color, and they do have a bit of brightness to them. Whereas at the very top of her head, it definitely is a bit of a darker, like wine red, almost maroon, I would say. And there is a little bit of darker, like blackish shading to the top of her hair at her roots. Overall, though, I would say her hair almost has a slightly transparent feel to it, which is interesting because oftentimes you see that on prize figures and it can come off as a little bit cheap. But because there is a lot of good gradients in her hair and they do have a bit of shading to them, I think it looks really, really nice and gives a good effect to the figure. I think her hair sculpt is honestly pretty good. It has quite a few like individual strands that connect to each other, so it gives a good nice layering effect. And then I absolutely love the little, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I will catch it in the b-roll. I love her black little hair pom-poms. I think they're so cute and honestly just really fitting for a bunny figure. But I think this character always has those black pom-poms in her hair, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen some of their art of this character, and I do believe that that hair accessory is kind of like their go-to for this character. The only other thing that I will mention is her silly little leg here. I know a lot of people weren't quite fond of the anatomy here, which understandably so. It would be quite difficult to bend your leg that way. That is kind of just an art style choice by the artist, quite exaggerated in my opinion. Like I said, a real person probably wouldn't be able to do that with their leg, and if they can, they've got double joints or they're just super flexible. So that's like the other thing that I've seen people complain about, but honestly, I don't really care that much because from this angle, it's not that noticeable, and then from this angle, it is, which is the angle that she's supposed to be displayed with. But like I said, in the art, her leg is quite exaggerated like that as well, so definitely intentional sculpting there. But again, I don't really care that much because I can clearly see that buying this figure, so I can't really complain too much because it's not like it was something that they changed last minute. That was always like that, so you know, it is what it is. As far as the paint job goes on this figure, it is stunning. Super, super, super well done and detailed. So on her bunny suit and her shoes and her ears, she has like a very glossy black paint, but if you pay close attention to when the light sheens on it, it does have a lighter, like almost greenish silver color underneath the black shading. So it gives the bunny suit a really nice depth and makes it look like it has shadows and highlights, which I really, really like. And then, of course, the finish of the bunny suit and all these other black pieces has a super, super high gloss finish. So it just adds that extra bit of oomph and really like sells the idea that it's like a pleather or a latex material, which I really, really love. There's also a ton of really, really teeny tiny like gold detailing along the edge of her skirt and then on the buckles of her like outfit. And then on the buckles of her outfit, which are little tiny hearts. So adorable. Love that detail. And of course, I will catch all of this really nice tiny detailing better in the B-roll so you guys can get a good look at it. All the gold is painted really, really nicely, super finely and super delicately. There's not really any paint that goes out of the lines on this figure at all. And then she does also have just a few little pieces on her outfit where she has little tiny pops of green. And those are also painted in a pearlescent paint as well, which I really, really like. There's a ton of pearlescent finish on this figure. Even her heels have it on the bottom of the shoe, and then tip of her stiletto is actually a heart, which I absolutely adore. I think that's super, super cute. I would say she has mostly like matte and pearlescent finish on her outfit, but there is, of course, the gold, which is a metallic finish, and then her hair and her red underskirt, and then the little ruffles on her thigh highs are kind of that clear, like transparent plastic, but they have shading on them. So it looks really, really nice, and it kind of gives a bit of uniqueness to this figure because it's not something that you typically see. So I really, really like that. It's something kind of new in my opinion with figures that I own at least. And then she does have her little cuffs and her ankle cuffs, which are matte white, and I think they do have a little bit of like grayish blue shading to them, and I think that looks really nice as well. But again, all the tiny little details, like the small little beads and buckles, all painted super, super nicely. Not even a single paint mishap to be seen. And I also really do love that the insides of her bunny ears are also a green as well, and they do have a nice shading to them too. So overall, I think the paint job on this figure is by far definitely one of the best paint jobs I've seen on a binding bunny for sure. And of course, her fishnets are nice and intact. We love that about our binding bunnies. That is one of the selling points, of course. And what else? I do think they captured her face really well. Ikazaki Misa definitely has a very, like, pronounced way of drawing, and I think that they capture that in this figure really, really excellently. Her face looks absolutely adorable. I love that she's got her tongue like sticking out slightly. I think it's super, super cheeky and cute, and I am a sucker for the cheeky, cute, kind of bratty girls, so definitely a selling point for me with that one. Her skin doesn't have a ton of shading on it, but there is a little bit of like darker orangey red shading to it, which I do think looks really nice. And of course, her cast off pieces are super easy to put on. As with most biting bunnies, the cups for her bunny suit just click off and click on, so super easy to take on and off. If I'm not mistaken, you do have to take her legs off to remove her underwear part, but it's not very hard at all. It's actually super easy. They kind of just pull right out, and then the underwear piece, I don't even think it's clicked into anything if I'm not mistaken. I think it just kind of sits there, and then when you put her body together, that's what holds it on. So that's super easy to take off as well. I can't quite remember what the sculpting down there looks like, but if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it's not super bad. I think it's pretty decent. I will have all the uncensored B-roll and pictures in the Discord server, so if you're not in there already, do consider joining. Any NSFW figure that I review, I always go ahead and show the NSFW B-roll in the Discord server for anybody who's interested, just because obviously I can't show it here. If you're interested, do pop in there. We do have a little community there. We're not super active, but we do talk occasionally. You can share your figures, your thoughts on figures and whatnot. We're always happy to have more people join. Yeah. One other thing that I did also want to mention is that her bunny tail is actually this huge floof right here. It's like a little fabric circle, and then it's stuffed with like little styrofoam beads, and you just kind of set her against it, and so that helps keep her up, but it also doubles as her humongous cottontail. So I thought that was pretty cute. I do quite like that idea, and I like that it's actually fabric. I think that is super, super nice instead of like a sculpted hard plastic. So kudos to them on that one. And then the other thing that I did want to show off real quick is she doesn't actually have a base. She just has this cardboard. I think this is supposed to be poker table. I don't know. I don't gamble, guys. I'm so sorry. That's probably really embarrassing if it's not. But it is some sort of casino game. It is just cardboard, like I said, though. So it's not super high quality, but if you like the casino theme, then definitely you can display her on this. I'm not going to because I'm not a huge fan of it. I just think that her bunny is like super, super cute, and I'm super happy to have her in my collection. And I just want to say another thank you to the very, very kind Depop seller who sold me her for a decent price. Again, I'm sorry for your loss, but I do think it's a really beautiful thing that you are using your siblings' hobby to fund their resting place. So just keep on keeping on, and regardless, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you can buy a figure, please do consider it's going to something really good. And if not, kind words are amazing too. So yeah, I just want to say a thank you to everyone who is watching, and if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below, and I always try to get back to you guys if I can. Maybe consider leaving a like or subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video.